you've been the president for the past 18 years, but you're coming to the end of your term now.
Yes, I am. It's been a wonderful 18 months. I ended up taking over when a former chair could no longer fulfil her commitments, and ended up staying on for an elected term as well. It's been an incredible opportunity to meet so many wonderful people and help shape the society and move it forward as well. Obviously, following on from the 2015 election, CSLD struggled for a bit. The motivation fell after we lost Julian, and it basically took us a few years to recover and get this big drive going forward, where we've now got speakers and new members and launching campaigns of our own, to really take a new form, to really allow the society to become a phoenix from the flames in a way.
Yeah.
We have done so much more canvassing this year than we've done for a while. We went down to Whitney, and we also went down to Richmond, which was a real morale boost as well after the election results for Richmond came out and that we actually won, because a lot of our committee were down there on election day as well, which is really rather exciting.
What was that like for you as a group, going down, taking part in such a big by-election campaign?
It was really interesting. It was great to see the Liberal Democrats coming together as a party, because I found, especially with the Liberal Democrats, it's a very close-knit party. You see it at a conference with the Lib Dem Disco and Glee Club and all of that, where everybody sings political songs and all that as well.
Which
so
was featured in the newspapers, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I think there's several videos of Julian dancing all over social media. Unfortunately, no one would have quite caught me, because I was helping Cambridge local party run it, selling tickets on the door, partially to save myself from the embarrassment of appearing all over social media dancing. But yeah, it's been absolutely wonderful. Starting out in CSLD in September 2015 as campaigns officer, I ran the Streetlights campaign with members of the party, members of the student body, Trinity JCR, QC. We managed to secure extra funding from QC, and obviously when I was appointed chair 3 months later to fill a bit of a gap, it was like, well, we've just got to keep going with this now. That campaign was successful, and it drove us to take on a much bigger campaign during my role as chair, which I helped initiate with the other committee members, of tackling the incredible injustices in Cambridge mental health treatment. It's no surprise to anybody, when we were at the Freshers' Fair, we were plugging a petition to ask for 5 more mental health counsellors at the University Counselling Service. The first years that were coming around looking at all these stalls were a bit surprised to hear that Cambridge mental health wasn't actually as great as you'd expect from such a prestigious university. But all the second and third years, as soon as they heard what we were campaigning for, just like, I'm signing a petition. It's shocking, and we're hoping that, obviously following on from our success last year with Streetlights campaign, we can bring even greater success to the students of the university and cut the waiting times. I mean, there's a lot of people in the committee and in the society that have suffered as a result. I waited 8 weeks to see a counsellor at the University Counselling Service. I know one person who waited 16 weeks, which is nearly a whole year in Cambridge, and it's not good enough. So.
And we've just had one of your party's former health ministers here. What has been his reaction to, or his statements on all things mental health in particular, when he's come here to visit?
Well, his statement's very much that we need to be treating mental health in the same way that we treat physical health problems. I remember Norman Lamb saying in another speech that I heard, I think it's the leadership elections, where he said that if somebody went into hospital with a broken bone, they'd be seen straight away. They wouldn't have to wait 6 weeks to see somebody to get it fixed. It'd just be instant. And the fact that this isn't happening with mental health, which is just as serious, it's just as fatal for people with mental health problems to not get the help they need when they need it. And in many cases, like with physical health problems, if it's not tackled early on, it gets worse and worse. And it's very much in agreement with Norman Lamb on that issue, I believe. Well, I wonder if part of the problem actually lies in the schools before people get to the institutions. I was very fortunate. I went to an all-girls school, and I had an excellent politics teacher who even now I'm still in regular contact with, and letting her know how I get on, because she was absolutely wonderful. Not everybody is that lucky to have that fostering support In year 12, she asked me to organise a mock referendum in the school, which I did and ran and chaired, which was great fun. She also ended up putting me in positions of public speaking in the class, invited me to the Model United Nations, got me involved in all sorts of debating and public speaking throughout the school. I don't think every woman or every young person really gets that chance. I think it's just as much of a problem for people from disadvantaged backgrounds as it is for women as well.
So is this something that we as a city can actually take action on for those who perhaps have had a negative experience of debating in schools or talking about political issues in schools? I think so.
I think perhaps one of the things it would be very worth doing is putting especially a lot more women and disadvantaged students out there as sort of like a platform for this is what you can do.
Yeah.
If you told me 4 years ago that I would be chairing CSLD now, I would not have believed you. I would never have dreamed that I've met 5 MPs in the last 6 months, and I'd never have believed that I'd have had such a pivotal role in working in such an established society as well, because CSLD has been around for 130 years as well, which is always mind-blowing. But I think we do really need to challenge that perception. I think also Cambridge can be doing a lot more about sending women in politics out to surrounding sixth forms and schools as well, and talking to students there. It would be a massive improvement in engagement, I feel, if people can see people like them talking about politics and involved in it. I mean, it's all very well sitting and watching like stuffy politicians, watching the House of Commons debates on BBC News or whatever, but it's a very different thing to see passionate young people talking to you about politics and engaging in politics, and I think we really need to see a lot more of that. I think what local parties need to be doing, it's not just the Lib Dems, it's all local parties. They need to be actively engaging with their youth population. I know a lot of university student organisations, my experience from this is more from the Lib Dem side of things. I don't know that many non-Lib Dem university organisations outside of Cambridge, but generally the relationship between the local party and the universities, societies can be quite touchy, and I think there needs to be a lot more work done to bridge the gaps between Labour and the student organisations, Lib Dems and the student organisations, and the Tories and the student organisations. Because the people that are in these student organisations now are the party's future legacy, and without fostering that, they're not going to get this crop of new candidates from these backgrounds, from these minority groups, from as women and all that, applying to run as candidates in the future.
And
Again, I think the call for that is very much working between the insular student groups and the local party and getting that greater publicity drive. This year, in September, we appointed a party liaison officer in Cambridge, Chris Powers, who's also running for the county council. And by having that link between us and local party, it's proved very valuable because they know what we're doing, we know what they're doing. If they're hosting an event, we'll go along, or if we're hosting an event, they will go along. And I think something like that will drive it forward, I think, and enable us to then see what local party need help with, especially with the younger population in Cambridge, because the student organisations are best equipped to deal with that. It's much better to hear about all this coming from somebody roughly your own age, with roughly the same sort of life experience as you, maybe just a few years older, than someone who's, say, 30, 40 years older than you, is married, had a job, and is very much on a very different stage of their life to what you're currently experiencing as well.
Okay, Sophie Bell, thank you very much.
Thank you.